John Buckets. Hey, Buckets, how you doing, brother?
Ian, I'm doing well. Anytime I get to hang out with you and producer Jeff behind the scenes, you know it's going to be a damn good day. I'm excited to be here, and I'm excited to hopefully not repeat what I did in the betting space last week. Oof.
Okay, you brought it up, so we're gonna go straight into it. Let's go through your weekend review as to exactly what happened this past weekend. Of course, you are watching Stoppage Time, our show that we created for you for entertainment and betting, and unfortunately, it wasn't a successful betting weekend for either of us. Buckets, take us through it.
Ian, I just wanted to rip this band-aid off early. Jeff, go ahead and have fun with this recap because it was an absolute doozy, man. Let's go ahead and start, though, with the winner. I know what a lot of you were saying. Did he say winner? Singular without an S at the end? Yes, because I had one win out of my 7 wagers, and that was Blackburn versus Sheffield Wednesday, both teams to score at minus 125 in the English Championship. Ding, ding, absolute ding, Ian. But that was the only ding, ding, ding on this recap. I'm going to fly through these losses for everybody here. Jeff, go ahead and do your thing. Fiorentina versus Victoria Pilsen. Fiorentina money line and under 3.5 goals. Nope. Genoa versus Lazio, both teams to score. Nope. Hellas Verona versus Udinese, both teams to score. Nope. Feyenoord versus NEC, both teams to score. Nope. Sivasspor versus Fenerbahce. Fenerbahce over 2.5 team total. Nope. And Arsenal versus Chelsea, both teams to score and over 2.5 goals. Nope. That is my recap, Ian.
Okay, it wasn't easy for you this past weekend, but I am incredibly proud of the way you handled this past weekend because as most people out there know, we have been working together now for over a year and a half, and we've built a great partnership. We certainly built a great show. It's entertaining, it's fun, and if you're here for some entertainment and best bets, you have come to the right place. But at the same time, you do have weeks like this in the betting space. And before I get into my best bet and tell you how I've been and what I've been up to, I want to check in on you because on the betting side of things, it's not easy. When the games are tough to read, the results have been a little crazy. I want to know what your advice would be to our loyal listeners out there, because it's not just us who are going through difficult times right now reading these games. This is the business end of soccer. This is the most unpredictable side of our sport towards the end of the season, where everything becomes much more valuable. The games are so much more important and they're so much more difficult to be able to read. So what would your advice be to the loyal listeners out there? Many of them maybe had a shit weekend as well.
Yeah, my advice, and this is a tough one to hear, and it's a tough piece of advice to digest here, but you got to remember that good bets do lose and bad bets do win. If you look at the stats on some of these matches I had, looking at matches like Sivasspor versus Fenerbahce, Fenerbahce scored 4 times in that game, but were offsides in 2 of those occasions. That is a bet that probably on paper should have hit. Arsenal versus Chelsea, both teams scored over 2.5 goals. Chelsea had almost a 2-goal expected goal in that matchup. Plenty of shots, plenty of chances. 5 goals, but we didn't get the both teams to score. Fiorentina versus Victoria Pilsen. Fiorentina had over 25 shots in that match and could not find it in the back of the net. I know that losing is tough. I know that it's hard when you have a bet you really like just to watch it not come to fruition. But you got to remember that we pick these bets for a reason. And even though the bets don't always hit, you have to trust the process. You have to trust your gut, and you have to go with what long-term will pay off and what long-term you do believe in. Ian, I've got no problem having weeks like this anymore because I know that what I'm doing works. And I know that if I track my bets for over a 6-month period, I'm going to be okay in the end.
Yeah, that's what I love to hear. And of course, there are some negative naysayers out there. Many people like to criticize for some reason. People ask you to supply your losers. And here we are talking on a show every single week about the bets that we lose. Tune in, everybody. But there's a lot of naysayers out there, but more so positive people. And of course, we've created a community where people are safe. They can win and lose. They can bet responsibly. They can be smart. And that's why I always say bet responsibly, because of weekends like this. It can happen. But to those negative naysayers out there, I put this t-shirt on. It's a gift from Hot Coco. It says, shut the fuck up and be positive. And that's exactly what I want people out there to do. If you are someone who is negative always in your social media, if you are someone who's negative with the comments you're responding to towards maybe even a Buckets, which he doesn't receive many. I don't receive any, to be honest with you, which is kind of weird in many ways. My message to you would be simply that, like, be quiet. Just enjoy the process, because as Buckets pointed out right there, it's a longevity game here that we're playing. This doesn't stop. This just keeps going and going. And if you're looking for profit, you're in the right place, because over the 6-month period, you'll eventually get there. Now, Buckets, before I get to a new segment that I created just for the fucking sake of it, I wanted to let everybody know out there, I may look like a bit of a robot today because I have a pinched nerve at the top of my shoulder. Yes, it's come back. I've had it multiple times, and for some reason, it's come back. My therapist, my massage therapist, disappeared for 3 weeks. Everything was going great. I was feeling the best I've felt in years, and he fucking disappeared for 3 weeks. Couldn't reach him, on vacation. Text you when I come back. Didn't work too well for me. Pinched nerve, and I am absolutely dying right now. It is miserable. Can't play golf. Country club means nothing to me right now. Can't get out there. Can't even move my neck. So if I look like a robot, I'd like to apologize. The reason for that is this little pinched nerve in my neck. Anyway, the massage therapist is back. I'm seeing him tomorrow, so let's hope he can ease things up by the time we get to the next episode. But I wanted to introduce to a new segment, Buckets. This is called the Buckets Betting List. I wanted to ask you about teams that you love and teams that you hate. Now, pick specifically one team right now that I would say is your golden team that you would bet on no matter what. If you get a good line, you're going for it. But then I also want you to touch upon the fact that there's a team out there that's on Buckets' shit list. Someone to stay away from, no matter how good the lines look, you're staying away. So let's begin with the golden bet team that you maybe want to look at betting every single time they play.
Ian, I absolutely love this segment because we're just giving the loyal listeners more ammo and more firepower when they're making their own wagers here. This is a brilliant thing to do. And I'm going to start with my team that I say whenever you see them play, you got to bet on this club. I'm looking at the German Bundesliga, and I'm actually looking at a weird one here, Ian. I'm looking at Hoffenheim right now. Hoffenheim specifically betting on goals, both teams to score over 2.5 team totals. Bet everything goals when it comes to Hoffenheim. This team is still hitting both teams to score at an 87% clip this season. When they're playing at home and on the road, both of those fixtures, 87% exactly. This is a team, if you look at their recent fixtures, I'm going to read off some score lines for everyone. 4-3 win over Gladbach, 4-1 loss to Mainz, 3-1 win over Augsburg, 2-1 loss to Leverkusen, 3-0 to Stuttgart, 3-1 Frankfurt, 2-1 Werder, 3-2 Dortmund. This is a team that just lives and breathes scoring and conceding goals here. So my team, that if you see them playing, and we're going to talk about this later in the show, a little hint for everyone, just bet on goals. Don't overthink this and have fun watching a team that truly celebrates the most important part of the sport.
Great team. Love betting them. One of the better teams to bet on away from home. 27 goals they've scored in, let me just confirm that, 15 games away from home this season. Oh, by the way, from those 15 games away from home, they've conceded 32 goals. So both teams to score, maybe the over. There's a lot to look forward to. Okay, let's talk about the shit list. The team that you want to stay away from right now that you just wouldn't touch no matter how good the lines look.
I feel bad about this team because there is money to be had. There's just not money to be had when I'm betting on them specifically. I'm looking at Chelsea, man. I cannot get a read on this damn side to save my life. They beat Everton 6-0 last week, then lose 1-0 to City in the FA Cup semifinals, then lose to Arsenal 5-0. But then this is a club that is capable of beating teams like Man United 4-3. They beat Newcastle 3-2. I cannot get a read on this club. And I think the only safe way to bet him right now would be if you see Cole Palmer is starting, bet on him to get a penalty. But besides that, this is a team that I just will not touch right now, Ian.
Yeah, I agree with you. And when you listen to the post-match interviews, especially when they just got pumped by 5-0 against Arsenal, the players and Pochettino came into the interview room and the questions were, what's going on? What's wrong? What can you do? And every single one of them said, it's a young group. It's a young squad. We're learning. Like, that shows me a sign of not giving a flying fuck about results right now and trying to improve on the process. I don't mind it. Anyway, I lost my best bet for this past weekend, Buckets, and a team that I would like to stay away from after breaking my rules because it was the rule breaker bet, the FA Cup semi-final between Coventry City and Manchester United. The game ended 3-3. I had both teams to score and no draw. And of course, in the 90 plus 5th minute of the game, Manchester United conceded a penalty kick and threw away the victory. It was plus 110, so I missed out on it. But as you can see right there, had you right, the Americans scored the equalizing goal to make it 3-3 and ruin our best bet for this past weekend. But it, of course, was a wild game. Manchester United were 3 goals up in this match, 58 minutes into the game, and then all of a sudden conceded 3 goals. As soon as our guy, Ellis Sims, stepped up to score his 6th goal of this FA Cup season, no player scored more, by the way. We also pointed him out in the latest episode of Stoppage Time. He stepped up to score that first goal. We thought, okay, 71 minutes into the game, there's too much time here. Manchester United are pretty much in trouble. United have now reached the FA Cup final more times than any other side in the competition's history. They've reached it 22 times now after winning the penalty kick shootout. The penalty kick shootout was pretty crazy. Haji Wright scored his first one, so did Torp, but then they missed 2 penalty kicks thanks to O'Hare, and Ben Sheaf, the captain, missed the most important one before Rasmus Højlund scored that winning penalty kick. After Casemiro missed the very first one, United looked like they were in trouble, but somehow find a way to get to the final. Now, there was a lot of shithousery going on in this game. I don't know if you caught it, but what the fuck was Anthony doing after that winning penalty kick going? Buckets, I'm going to just give you the platform right now because he ran away celebrating with the ears up to the Coventry City players on the halfway line after winning a penalty kick shootout. Do you think that was a little bit unsportsmanship-like?
I think that was more than just a little unsportsmanship like. I think that was downright embarrassing for Anthony. You just gave up a 3-0 lead to a championship team, a good championship team, but still a team a whole division lower than you, and you did not take part in the PKs. He didn't really contribute that much, I felt like, overall in that match. And yet he's the one going out of his way rather than celebrating with his club on their success. He's attacking the other fans. Ian, I personally hated seeing that. Maybe I don't understand kind of the mentality behind some of these high-level football matches, but for me, that was downright embarrassing.
Yeah, for someone who's not scored a single goal in the Premier League this season, maybe at some point you should read the T-shirt. Shut the fuck up. Be positive, and actually go and applaud. Harry Maguire went straight over to the Coventry City players, and he wasn't the only Manchester United player that went over there and said, well done, what a hell of a game. I mean, amazing performance from Coventry City. They should keep their heads incredibly held high. But at the end of the day, the thing that's pissing me off the most is the negativity towards Manchester United. People are criticizing, hammering them, and saying, it's a disaster. You don't. No, you made the FA Cup final. You will play Manchester City in there, so good luck with that one. But at the same time, you made an FA Cup final, and there's a lot to be positive about it. Thought Ten Hag's interview yesterday was brilliant, where he called the reporters embarrassing. It was an embarrassment of a question when you asked me about trying to get to an FA Cup final. I was pretty impressed with that. But overall, LSM's got a goal. We missed our bet buckets, but the information we give out there saw many people cash a few tickets.
Yeah, we saw a lot of Ellis Sims anytime goal scoring tickets hovering between plus 250 and plus 300 on that one. That's a great way to find some sneaky value there is find the underdog in a big cup match like that, pick the best goal scorer and bet him to score because if someone was going to open it up for Coventry, it was absolutely going to be Ellis Sims.
Yeah, I'm very thankful that Coventry City scored a goal, but I'm not fucking happy they scored 3 goals after being 3-0 down in the game. Congratulations to Coventry City. What a great season you had in the FA Cup. Wish you all the best and hopefully get into the playoffs in the Championship and hopefully at some point back into the Premier League. Buckets, let's turn our attention to the Champions League because the semi-final is now set. The fixtures are a little interesting for you in particular and our beloved producer, Jeff. Bayern Munich at home to Real Madrid on Tuesday, April 30th will be the first game in the semi-final. The home leg for Bayern Munich. The home leg for Borussia Dortmund will also take place in Germany a day later. It's Wednesday, May the 1st against Paris Saint-Germain. The return fixtures will take place a week later. And then, of course, the final will be held June 1st, 2024. And, of course, it will be the winners who come through both of those legs. First and foremost, Buckets, your thoughts on the ties. And, of course, producer Jeff, you can drop in at any time what you think about the Borussia Dortmund tie against Paris Saint-Germain.
Well, I'm going to be careful not to upset producer Jeff here because I know what he can do behind the scenes with his editing, and I'm trying to stay on his good side. I will say I'm very excited for both of these ties, and I think they're going to be a lot more competitive than people might think. I know that people see Real Madrid and they go, oh, boom, Real Madrid through, they're in the finals. Oh, PSG, boom, through the finals. I think Germany is going to give both of these clubs a hell of a difficult time here, and I think more than anything, home field advantage will mean everything in these matches. I would not be shocked if we saw both Bayern Munich and Dortmund come away with at least a draw, if not a 1-goal lead in that first leg, then traveling to defend in the second leg. I see a lot of goals. I see a lot of good matches, and I see a lot of fun to be had in these ones, Ian.
I totally forgot the finals in London, remember? Because the last time the final was in London was 2013, and it was which teams in the final?
Woo. Bayern Munich and Jeff's beloved Borussia Dortmund.
Can you imagine if we have an all-German final? I would love it, and none of those teams will be German champion because Leverkusen already won the Bundesliga. That would be absolutely wild, by the way, and it's very possible, of course. Really quickly, I want to point out some of the odds for the first legs buckets because obviously there's a lot of plus numbers, and we talked about it. Betting responsibly right now, it's going to be very, very interesting. Bayern Munich plus 140 at home, Real Madrid plus 180 away from home. The draw currently sitting at plus 260. Dortmund plus 175. And favourites for that game would be Paris Saint-Germain plus 140 away from home. If you're looking at the initial lines for these first legs buckets, is there anything that quickly jumps out to you?
Quickly, and we'll talk about this later when we get into the best bets. I do not think, even if it's a slight underdog, I don't think Dortmund at home should be the underdog. This is the exact same scenario we had in the last leg, to where books just disrespect Dortmund because they're not they're not Bayern Munich, they're not Bayer Leverkusen this season. This is a team that really gets disrespected at home. I think that Dortmund's going to be sneaky in this first leg.
Don't forget that these two teams did meet already in the group stage buckets. Dortmund won, PSG won in the home leg, and then in the home tie, and PSG won 2-0 in September in the away game for Borussia Dortmund. So really intrigued to see what happens there. Okay, let's look at the big picture now. The odds to reach to the final. I mean, this is going to be interesting because there is still money to be made. Clearly, you can see who the favorites are. I'm quite surprised to see Paris Saint-Germain reaching the final at minus 250. They are clear favorites over Dortmund now, which is a dangerous game to play, man. You got to be careful. Dortmund, yellow wall, they're a dangerous team. And as they've already proven to us in this competition, they can beat anyone on their day. Minus 200 for Real Madrid to get it done over two ties to reach the final. And then the two German teams in plus numbers, especially, I think Bayern Munich against Real Madrid. Plus 150 for Bayern Munich to reach the final is quite tasty.
It's quite tasty. And full disclosure to everyone watching the show right now, I have already taken both of the German clubs to reach the final at those plus numbers. I think it shouldn't be. I don't think PSG should be minus 250. I think that's a ridiculous number. So for me,
Yep.
it's worth a sprinkle on both of these plus odds plays.
Especially when you've got Mbappe leaving Paris Saint-Germain at the end of the season, potentially going to Real Madrid. All right, just say this. If the German teams don't make the final and it's PSG against Real Madrid in the final, what does Mbappe do? Does he go 100% out to beat Real Madrid, who's joining next year? I mean, it's kind of a weird scenario for him to be in. It has happened before, of course, with Lewandowski. I think he played in the final 2013 before he made that move over to Bayern Munich. It was kind of weird seeing him play for his team against Bayern before already stating that he's leaving to go to Bayern Munich the next season. It's kind of a weird scenario for many. Odds to win it all right now is where you can make some serious money. Real Madrid are the clear favorites right now at plus 140. I'm okay with that. They are a favorite for a reason. They just knocked out Manchester City over two games. They were excellent, and they didn't lose, and that was really impressive to me against Manchester City. Paris Saint-Germain plus 250. Let's put it straight and forward, okay? PSG were lucky that Barcelona got a red card early on in the first half in that return leg. Otherwise, they wouldn't even be at this stage. And of course, Bayern Munich at plus 250 is tasty. The reason why it's plus 250 is because they're facing Real Madrid. But Borussia Dortmund are in a semi-final, and they deserve to be. They're plus 850 to win it buckets. Is it worth a little stab?
Here's exactly how I would play this, Ian. I would play a half unit, maybe even a full unit on this Dortmund play. And then if they get through PSG and make it to the final, you have a brilliant way to hedge yourself in that final matchup. Let's say we do get this all German final, or even if it's Real Madrid Dortmund in the final, Dortmund's probably going to be still plus 350, plus 400 in that final against either side. So you'll be able to hedge yourself if you do want to have a little fun with this Dortmund line.
It's kind of crazy to think about that, right? I mean, it's absolutely wild to think that they would have such high numbers, especially with four teams that are left in the competition. Early predictions from you, Buckets. I'm just going to ask it right now. You've put money on both German teams getting into the final. How do you see it playing out? Just give everybody a slight heads up as to where your head's going.
I do think we get that 2013 repeat here. I think we get the all-German final. I've got Bayern Munich winning the finals 3-2 against Dortmund. That's my very specific prediction, but I'm excited for it.
All right, some more bets from Buckets on the Champions League a little later on the show when we do get to the best bets. Let's get into the loyal listener comments. Now, of course, it was spring break this past weekend, so a lot of people were away. Me and Buckets were obviously posting the show as much as we possibly could and sharing the show. We were also busy, but at the same time, numbers were a little bit down, and certainly the comments were a little bit down because of that. So if you could all pick it the fuck up, man, and get it fucking entertaining again would be great for us because we don't have many comments to go through. Here's the best of the bunch, Buckets. You ready for this?
Let's do it.
They're actually quite good. Stephen Lochner jumped in. He said, it's been a while since I showed some love on the YouTube comments. I keep watching, not for the bets, but for those two beautiful specimens splitting the screen right now. Thanks, Ian and John, for all the hard work and also for being good people. Don't stop ever. Buckets, we got some time and we're going to rapid fire through the show because it's a quick one today. But at the same time, some love for Steve.
Some love to Steve. Steve has been here for so long, too. I remember reading Steve's comments back when we were still with, what was that other sports book called? I don't remember. But whenever we were back with those other guys, Steve was still there supporting us. Steve has been here since day one, and I absolutely love you, Steve Lochner.
That sportsbook doesn't exist anymore. Just gonna point it out to you right now. It has
Yeah.
since been purchased and it is no longer there. We go to Stephen Tompkins. Is another brilliant show, informative and entertainment show, fellas. Thanks to IPJ singling Blackburn's midfielder Schmuditz. Praises. I placed a wager on him anytime goal score plus 150. All he did was cash my ticket at the 9-minute mark early Sunday morning. So nice to start the day with a win. You guys rock. Hashtag have it. Now, Buckets, even though we didn't have much success this past weekend with our best bets and wagers that we placed out there. Our loyal listeners, they listened. They took the information and they placed their own wagers and won.
Yeah, they took care of everything like they always do, man. And that's our favorite thing about the show is you and I can talk about a game, give out one bet, and then we're going to see 8 different cash tickets from different angles that we discussed here. Love you, Stephen Tompkins. I love that kind of stuff.
Nicholas jumping in and saying missed yesterday due to meetings. First minute in and love the family intro. That'll be back one day. Reed Phillips, Rad jumping in and saying another great episode in the books. Good luck in all your bets this week, ladies and gents. Well, Reed, a lot of people won out there. Me and Buckets, we're not some of them. We go to Raymond. He said, nice hat, IPJ. Where did you buy it from? Of course, talking about my bucket hat. That was the Stone Roses edition of Manchester United's recent drop in collaboration with the Stone Roses and Adidas. Feel free to go on their website and find one. If you can't and you have no luck, reach back out to me. Maybe we'll do a giveaway and you can maybe you can just purchase my hat straight from me. It's $1,000. Let's go to Nate. He jumped in. He said, if Bucket shows up next week in an orange suit and top hat with the cane, you guys will break the internet. Now, that's all we got for the comments, but that comment right there was brilliant. Of course, referring to the Dumb and Dumber comment I made last week with Buckets' new haircut. And Buckets, the response was pretty cool. People loved the fact that we were making fun of you, but also loved the fact that you are proud of your hairstyle. You're not shy to go out there and bleach blonde that beautiful hair and basically entertain us all.
Ian, I have always been and I will always be 100% unapologetically myself. I don't care if I've got bleached hair and an orange suit, and I haven't seen the show. I do have to go watch Dumb and Dumber at some point, but I'm going to do what makes me happy here, and maybe that will just be me in an orange suit one day.
Yeah, cue the picture of Harry and I forget the other guy in Dumb and Dumber. God, it was great. But my God, cue the photo from producer Jeff right now of the orange and blue suit they wore in Dumb and Dumber. Buckets, me and you would fucking rock that blue suit. I'm just going to throw it out there. But please make sure you go watch Dumb and Dumber, one of the greatest movies of all time. It is fucking hilarious. I understand it was spring breaks and the kids were at home. You were all maybe on vacation, everybody out there. But for the love of God, please get back in the comments after this episode. When you're watching this episode, if you're listening to this right now, drop a comment, like, subscribe, share. Do everything you possibly can for our show because it means the world to us. And the comments right there, I need more, guys. I need more. Just drop the comments in. I need more of them. Buckets, this past week on CBS Sports Galazzo Network, I have been covering something called MASL Soccer. Now, MASL Soccer is called Major Arena Soccer League. Now, to me, it was something new, something inspirational, and something pretty cool. I've been covering it all week because it's into the later stages of the competition. But let me tell you, I was fucking blown away by the MASL. It was absolutely terrific. The entertainment, it was brilliant watching the energy, the fans, the players, the characters, the players that they've got there, haircuts and crazy goal celebrations. It was awesome. Now, legendary broadcaster, good friend of myself and producer Jeff, JP Delacamera, he's a great human, by the way, Buckets. What a legend he is in sports broadcasting. He is the president of communications for the MASL, and he was telling me how great it was and was excited that I was a part of it. But Buckets, you jumped in the comments and you dropped a little tweet and you've been enjoying the MASL as well.
I had never heard of the MASL, full disclosure, but what I do when I'm working late, when I'm getting my slate together for the next morning, I'll always throw on Galazzo just to have some background noise, get some recaps. Maybe I'm lucky enough to see IPJ's faces on there. And I turned it on, and there was something called the MASL on. The indoor, I think, Major Arena Soccer League, whatever. I think that's what it is, right?
Yep.
Major Arena Soccer League. And I was looking at the scoreboard and I saw that a team was down 6-1. And I was like, okay, reminds me of, summer beer league playing indoor, having fun. Nobody plays defense. You're just having a good time. I look down, I'm typing my notes. I look up, it's 6-2. I'm like, okay, fun, a little comeback. You got to love that. Look down, look back up, 6-3, 6-4, 6-5, 6-6, 7-6. I watched a team score 7 unanswered goals in like a 5-minute period. And I learned that they also pull their goalie. They pull their goalie and have him play as a sixth attacker. And I'm not kidding, Ian. I have watched thousands and thousands of hours of football and soccer, whatever you want to call it, in my life. And that was the most entertaining 15 minutes I have ever watched. You know that I love goals. I'm always trying to bet both teams to score over 2.5, over 3.5. Imagine laddering over 11.5, over 12.5 goals in a match and seeing all of it come in the last 15 minutes. And then, Ian, when it was all said and done, when they were interviewing the guy with the crazy beard hair combo that wiped over his face, and they went to the post-game show, I see your fucking face smiling back at me, talking about how amazing this league is. And it just made so much sense to have a league that is that energetic and that passionate and that just exciting. And then to immediately transition to, oh, IPJ's talking about it. It makes a lot of sense. But dude, what a time. That was so much fun.
Dude, it's wild. It's so much fun and it's
Crazy.
entertaining. And I think honestly, we should start to watch a little bit more and want our loyal listeners out there watching it as well because it's really entertaining. I was actually thinking, I just wonder if me and Buckets and producer Jeff, we could get involved in this in some way. I don't think you can place wagers on it. It's probably dangerous, maybe for the players and for, the sanity of the players and not having a wager placed on them because anything can happen in this sport. And as I mentioned before, there are characters out there. Can't imagine there's a lot of money in it. So it's also dangerous to be placing wagers on games where players are not making a lot of money from it. And of course, you want to avoid any type of corruption when it comes to placing wagers on sport. But that itself was absolutely phenomenal to watch. I really enjoyed it. I thought the energy was brilliant. I thought the supporters were great. I thought the games were great. But that game in particular, you were talking about Christian Andreas. He scored a hat trick. He had a weird haircut. I'm going to have producer Jeff put a picture up. Check this out. This is fucking unbelievable. His haircut went into his forehead and it also went into his beard. It was like, I was like, what the hell am I watching here? It looked like a movie. This guy scored a hat trick on the day. But that game in particular was one of the wildest games. They were 6-0 down at one stage, and then they scored 6 goals in 9 minutes to get back into it. They were pulling the goalkeeper out, playing a playmaker as the goalkeeper. He would wear the goalkeeper's jersey just to show that he had a jersey on, but he would be out the goal. It was just the rules, the regulations, learning it. It was fun, man. I had a lot of fun. But needless to say, the final is absolutely set for the MASL. Get the team names that are in the final. The Chihuahua Savage are in the final against Kansas City Comets. You can watch the game because the coverage will be on Galazzo Network. At least I hope it is because I'm working this weekend. My boss, Mike Nastri, he told me that the numbers for watching this on Galazzo Network were huge. And that got me rather excited, rather entertained. So that's why I'm bringing it for the MASL because I really feel that we can entertain people with this league. Sunday, April 28th, 5 p.m. Eastern. Hopefully, I think it is on Galazzo Network. You'll have to double check and make sure of that, but I'm hoping it is because I'm working on Sunday and I shall be covering it as well. Buckets, real quickly, speaking of indoors and scoring goals indoors and specifically scoring indoors, can we have a checkup on your dating life, please, for the loyal listeners out there? Do you have anything to provide from us?
Ian, I love that you can always find a way to transition into it. That is a master class of whatever you want to call it, commentary.
Feed the loyal listeners. You know they want.
Loyal listeners, here's the update. Ian, I know you know this. I've gotten very into the gym lately, taking care of my physical health and my physique. I told my trainer I will not date until I can bench 315 pounds. So, for the time being, no update, Ian. I'm just relaxing right now.
That's not true because I'm going to dive into our personal conversation a little bit more, Buckets, okay? Because when you're in the gym and you're working out, there are a lot of people looking. And someone did give you a compliment in the gym and you're not sharing it with the loyal listeners. Share it, please.
What compliment?
You text me and you said someone came up to you in the gym. Come on.
Yeah. No, but we're not dating. That's not a dating update. That was just a pretty girl telling me I look good. And then And then maybe we talked after that. That's all that was, right? Nothing specific.
That's all we need. We just need a little something from the bucket, man, to feed us with our entertainment factor into your bucket's dating life. I mean, it's fascinating watching you go around life and how you live your life. And, you know, if anybody's out there and wants to make contact with Buckets, feel free to do so. But if you see him out there, especially in the gym when he's looking all fucking strong and, you know, Dolph Lundgren like, feel free to go up to him and say what's up, man, how much you enjoy the show. And of course, if you are a single lady out there looking for love, Buckets is also looking for love. But wait until he hits what, 330 bench press?
315. 315.
Man, that's pretty crazy. You can, what are you lifting right now?
My 1 rep max is currently 245. So we're getting there.
Dude, that's well. All right, let's not waste any more time talking about Buckets' dating life, because there is no update outside of the beautiful girl coming up to him and telling him, by the way, you are one sexy motherfucker. It is time. You know what time it is, and you know it wouldn't be an episode of Stoppage Time if we didn't get some best bets from the best soccer capper in the United States of America. That is, of course, our blonde bombshell, the unicorn, the betting expert, John Bucket Timer. Welcome back, Buckets. Okay, it was a shit week, but we're moving on to this week. And this is how we do things. It's called the rebound. You need to learn that in your dating life as well. Buckets, I want from you 7 best bets. I'm looking for a bet on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Tuesday and Wednesday must be from the Champions League semi-final games. And if you don't have a line for those bet buckets that you fancy, then please just provide the bet that you're looking to take and hope that the line is good. There, let's get your best bet on Thursday.
Ian, this is the best part about being in the space is when you have a shit week, next week you get to go again. You get to reset, you get to clear your mind, and you get to just have a completely new slate. And that is what we're going to do here with the rebound. For my best bet for Thursday, I'm looking at the EPL clash between Brighton and Manchester City, Ian. And I'm very excited about this one because I've never given out this bet before in my betting history, not just here on Stoppage Time, but never on Twitter, never on CBS, never on anywhere have I done this specific player prop. We have already heard announcements from Pep Guardiola that Erling Haaland will not be traveling with the squad to this matchup. He will not be fit and he will not be ready for this fixture. So with that being said, who steps up when Erling Haaland isn't playing? Well, this season, my word, has it been Phil Foden. Phil Foden is having a tremendous run of things. He has 14 goals, 7 assists in his 28 matches, and this guy is just shooting for fun right now. And that's what's important, is he is shooting a lot. He's scoring a lot, but he's also just shooting so much in these fixtures. I'm expecting to see Foden starting, and I'm taking Phil Foden, check this out, Ian, to have 1 shot on target in the first half. That is minus 120, a very playable line considering I think Foden scores here. If you want to take his anytime goal scorer, that is plus 138 right now on MGM. But let's not sit here and pretend like Brighton are a defensive powerhouse. And let's not sit here and pretend like City don't desperately need these wins if they want to have a shot at this league still. We have to remember they're in a title race. They need to perform. They need to get 3 points out of this. And Phil Foden will be one of the many players that will help them get 3 points here.
How do you play this one, Buckets? Do you wait until the lineups come out before you place the wager?
That would be the smart way to do it. Yes. If you were able to do that, if you were in a position where you can wait until lineups, then I would do that. However, I do feel confident that Foden will start. He started in 28 of 30 matches now, and the matches he did not start, the 2, were ones, frankly, where they didn't need him to play. So I do expect him to start here, but if you can wait, you always should wait.
The only reason why I'm saying that is because he did miss training earlier on this week, which tells me that maybe he does have a slight injury, or maybe it was something completely different. I would always wait until that starting 11 is out there before you place this wager. Let's go to your best bet for Friday.
My best bet for Friday, Ian, and this is a touchdown, whatever it is. We already talked about this because I'm betting on the matchup between Bochum and Hoffenheim. Yes, my team that I am betting on no matter what right now, and I'm doing something that I've slowly come to love here on Stoppage Time. I am betting 2 wagers on this matchup, and I'm doing... You good?
I'm listening to everything you're saying. I'm just curious.
And I'm doing the same thing I did when we did this in the Svein Bundesliga a couple weeks back. I am betting Bochum versus Hoffenheim. Bochum over 1.5 team total at minus 125, and Hoffenheim over 1.5 team total at plus 105. That plus number shocked me a little bit. I know that for some teams in the Bundesliga, their season is pretty much wrapped up, but Bochum is definitely not one of these clubs. They're in a relegation race right now. They're 16th on the table, and they are tied for points with Mainz and only 3 points behind Wolfsburg in 13, and even Gladbach in 12th. So there's a very tight race between these teams between 12th and 17th on the table. Bochum need points here. And as Ian talked about earlier, Hoffenheim, especially on the road, they score so many damn goals, but they do not play any defense at all. I assume that at least one of these will hit, but this is the kind of matchup, Ian, to where I would not be shocked at all if we saw both clubs score at least 2 in this very, very good matchup.
So 2 separate wagers. You've played this recently multiple times. Why are you leaning towards placing 2 separate wagers? Is it one way of protecting yourself and potentially making more money?
It's a little bit of protection, but basically, if I find a match to where I love both teams to score and over 2.5 goals, but the line is not playable, this is a great way to work around that. Both teams to score and over 2.5 in this matchup is minus 195 as of this morning, and I'm not going to give out a minus 195 wager. But we do clearly see that the books think that we see at least 3 goals coming from both ends of the pitch here, so there's no reason not to have a little extra fun and still give yourself that safety net if only one of them hits.
I'm just going to give it a look out here. This is not my best bet for the week, but I'm going for both teams to score no draw. It's minus 105 in this game buckets. As I look at it right now, Hoffenheim, as we've pointed out, the goals that they score away from home, they have played 15 games away from home, 27 goals scored, 32 goals conceded. They have only drawn 2 from 15 games away from home. Simply said, Hoffenheim don't give a fuck. They either win or they lose when they're on the road. Love to hear that, Buckets. It's a great wager right there, and I'm loving the fact that you're actually placing it. Let's go to Saturday.
Saturday, I call this I'm not sure if this is the smartest wager, but I love a revenge angle bet. I'm staying in the Bundesliga, Ian. I'm having some fun with Germany this weekend, and I'm looking at the matchup between my boys, Bayern Munich, and Eintracht Frankfurt. Now, I'm going to go through a couple things here. Number one, we have to remember that Bayern Munich does have a Champions League fixture coming a few days later, which will be the priority, considering that Leverkusen has already won the league, and it would be very hard for Bayern Munich to fall out of the top 4. With that being said, Bayern Munich, I did not think they would do anything against Union Berlin, and they pumped 5 goals in there, no problem. We also have to remember that this is a bit of a revenge angle. Frankfurt beat Bayern Munich 5-1 earlier this season, absolutely embarrassed them, pissed them off, lost all of my wagers in that matchup. So I am expecting Bayern Munich to play aggressive, specifically in the first 45 minutes. This could be the type of match to where Bayern Munich is up 3-0, 3-1 in the first half. Then you take off some of your big guns, let them rest, and prep for that match against Real Madrid. Frankfurt, on the other hand, sitting 6th on the table right now, it would be almost impossible for them to catch up to Dortmund to get to the top 5. So they want to maintain this 6th Europa Conference spot. I'm taking over 1.5 goals in the first half here, Ian, at plus 100. If you play it that way, it doesn't matter if the goal comes from Frankfurt or Bayern. We just need 2 goals in the first half. If you want to have a little bit of fun here, Bayern to score 2 in the first half is plus 185 if you do think that they come out swinging like I do. But for me, going back to what used to be a golden bet, struggled a little bit, but I do think we see fireworks in the first 45 in this Bundesliga clash.
Love this wager, and you made some great stats there. Obviously, touch upon the fact that Bayern got humiliated by Eintracht Frankfurt in the return leg, the other game that they played away in Frankfurt. There's a few things I want to point out that's really important. Bayern Munich, yes, they do have the Champions League coming up, but we are hearing reports that Ralf Rangnick will take over and has accepted a meeting with Bayern Munich about taking over as head coach of Bayern Munich at the end of the season. When Thomas Tuchel departs, Ralf Rangnick will come in. So there's a point to be proven for a lot of players that they belong at the football club for this new project of Bayern Munich going forward and trying to impress Ralf Rangnick, which I think is a good appointment for the football club. Many people out there criticizing don't know what the fuck they're talking about and certainly don't know who Ralf Rangnick is. At the same time, I want you to keep this in the back of your nine buckets as well. UEFA coefficient is so important when it comes to placements in the championship tables, okay? In Italy right now, they've guaranteed that the 5th spot in Serie A will go to a Champions League as well. So if you finish in 4th or 5th in the Italian league, you're going to end up in the Champions League now if you end up in 5th. They may have a 6th spot in the Champions League if Atalanta and Roma make the final of the Europa League and one of those teams win it. A 6th spot will go down to the Champions League as well. So the top 6. The same thing is happening in the Bundesliga. That 5th spot is almost guaranteed to be a Champions League spot as well, which means where you're talking about Eintracht Frankfurt might be playing for Europa League, not conference, next year in the table position they have. And of course, the conference position will go down to 7th, where Freiburg are currently occupying right now. So every game matters. Expect goals, expect fireworks. Love the bet, placing the wager. I feel good about it. Let's go to Sunday.
Sunday, I'm looking at a Ligue clash, not one of the top 4 leagues anymore. We're looking at France, though, and we're looking at this game between Olympique Lyon and AS Monaco. And Lyon has been Such a weird, weird team this season. Lyon at the beginning of the season looked like they were going to be in a relegation battle. This team just could not piece together anything, looked absolutely appalling. And then something switched. I think they had a new manager bounce. I might be incorrect on that. But one thing I do know is that Alexander Lacazette has been in tremendous form for this Lyon squad. He has been absolutely carrying this team, but he's been doing it in a way that makes me oh so happy as someone who loves betting on goals. I'm taking both teams to score and over 2.5 in this fixture, Ian, priced at -105. If you look at Lyon's recent fixtures, they did just get battered by PSG, but they still scored. A 4-1 loss to PSG, a 4-3 win over Brest, a 3-1 win over Nantes. This is a team that recently, this past month, has said, hey, we're going to score goals, and we're actually climbing back into potentially a top 5 spot. We have to win. And they're doing that, unfortunately, against a Monaco team that also has to win. Monaco is second on the table in Ligue 1 right now with 55 points. They are only 3 points ahead of falling to fourth to Lille right now. In France, I believe only the top 3 spots get Champions League or competition. So Monaco has to keep their foot on the gas. They have to keep scoring goals, which they have been doing for fun this season. If you look at Monaco, 29 matches played, 55 goals scored, but 38 allowed. So not the best defense by any means. And Lyon, kind of similar stats, 39 goals scored, 49 conceded. Two teams that are just all about goals here. I got to go with the classic, both teams to score in over 2.5.
Yeah, I love the bet, love the wager. I think this one's got every chance of hitting. This one should have fireworks in it, and I'm leaning towards Lyon actually getting a positive result there. But be careful betting against this Monaco side because they are a good team as well. And if I'm not mistaken, both teams are scoring over hitting. The last time they met at the end of last season, it was 3-1 to Lyon as well. I wanted to point out something really important. It's not just one replacement they've had as a boss; they've had 2 manager replacements, head coaching replacements this season. You will remember Laurent Blanc. There's the balloons. Laurent Blanc. He was the head coach going into the September and then got fired after a terrible start to the season. He was replaced by Fabio Grosso. I think it's Fabio Grosso, former player, Italian guy. And then you remember he had like the incident at Marseille where the bus got smashed and he had blood all over his face
Oh,
and all
yeah.
that type of stuff. Yeah, well, he got fired about a week after that as well because he was shocking. 7 points from 12 games when he was in charge of the club, and they were bottom of the table. Fans were not happy, complaining, and obviously you remember that scene where they were asking the players to come over and shouting at the players, which I think is ridiculous. Then we had a new guy, Pierre Sage. He knows the club inside out. He's in charge of the club, and since he's been at the club, he's been absolutely phenomenal. Lacazette has been one of the reasons why they're doing so well, Buckets, but at the same time, Pierre Sage has taken over the club, 23 games. He's won 16 of them and lost only 6. They are now back in with contention of a European place after being bottom of the table for a long period of time. That club is American owned as well, so I always am intrigued watching them and seeing how they do. So I want to see if they can get a positive result. But Balogun might have something to say for Monaco this weekend as well. Let's go to Monday.
Monday, I've got a bit of a weird one for everyone, but stick with me because I'm going to the Portuguese Primeira League in a matchup between 2 teams that probably a lot of people haven't bet on. Usually when we think of Portugal, we think of the Bragas and the Portos and the Sportings and the Benficas. But check this one out. I'm looking at Estrela Amadora taking on Farense. And I'm taking both teams to score. I got to have one classic bet here at -120. And I'm doing that because of bizarre away and bizarre home form. Right now, Estrella, when playing at home specifically, they have the 3rd highest both teams to score hit rate in the entire league at 68% as of recording this video. Meanwhile, Farense playing at home is a bit cagey, is a bit defensive, but Farense on the road have the 2nd highest both teams to score hit rate at 74%. So we have 2 teams that in this specific fixture have been all about both teams to score, and the recent form on top of that has proven that as well. Right now, Farense has hit both teams to score in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of their last 8 matches, while Estrella Amadora has done it in their last 4 straight right now. These teams aren't necessarily playing for a lot. Estrella is a part of the relegation rate, so they probably have a little bit more motivation to push forward right now. But Estrella has also been this super annoying club because they're just playing for draws right now. 4 draws in their last 5 matches. This is a team that will go up 1-0 early, and then they will park the absolute hell out of the bus. They will stop going for goals, and they will get punished late into this game. I think this game ends in a draw. I think it ends 1-1, but I got to take both teams to score in this matchup.
I'm not going to question it because I haven't done any research on that, but I do want to point out what's happening this weekend in Portugal because there are some big games buckets taking place this weekend in Portugal. You have got Benfica against Braga. That 2nd place Benfica on 73 points against Braga, who are 4th place in the table right now on 62 points. They take a game head to head against each other on Saturday. Then on Sunday, It is Porto against Sporting. Sporting are top of the table right now on 80 points, and Porto are third in the table on 62 points. So the top four are battling it out and going absolutely crazy. And if Sporting get a huge victory this weekend, they are one step closer to claiming the title, which would be absolutely sensational. And one player we've got to point out there has been Victor Gyökeres. What he has done in the Portuguese league is absolutely sensational. This guy scored 24 goals in 29 matches. And I want to remind everybody out there, he signed from Coventry City in the championship and went to Sporting Lisbon and might win a title this year. He was brilliant for Coventry last season. He scored 22 goals from 50 games that he played there. But I'm hearing rumors that there are close to 70, 80, 90 million getting ready to be spent on this guy making the move away from Sporting this year. So watch this space. Buckets, great bet. Love to hear it. But let's go to Tuesday, where we're starting to get really interesting. These bets on Tuesday and Wednesday must come from the Champions League. And of course, on Tuesday, it is Bayern Munich against Real Madrid. Where are you going?
All right, listen, okay? Everybody listen. If you're watching at home, at work, in the car, I need you to listen very carefully to me, because it is impossible for me to hide my bias in a Champions League semifinal. I love Bayern Munich. I hope they win by a million goals, but I have to be a little bit conservative here, and this is exactly how I'm doing it. Bayern Munich versus Real Madrid. Bayern Munich draw no bet. Minus 130. Bayern Munich, I know that they are the underdogs, but we can't ignore the fact that even though Tuchel had a bit of a weird season, Tuchel in Champions League is capable of doing big things, and he is showing that he is capable of producing big results. A massive win over Arsenal. It's kind of like when he had that massive run with Chelsea when they won the Champions League. He has really good seasons when he's in the UCL, and we can't undermine his success here so far in this competition. I do think that Bayern Munich win this match. I think they win it close. I think it's a 2-1. Maybe it's a 2-2 draw thing. What I do think doesn't happen is I don't think Bayern Munich will lose in this home leg. I believe that in both of these semifinals, home leg means absolutely everything. Playing at Allianz Arena in front of their fans, worst case scenario in my mind, they get the draw. So I have no problem, Ian, taking that safety net right now, that draw no bet, in case we do see a 2-2 result, a 2-1-1 result maybe. I just don't believe that Bayern Munich are capable of losing, regardless of how good Real Madrid are in this first leg. Second leg, entirely different monster, but give me that draw no bet for Bayern in the first leg.
Yeah, listen, it's a great look. Obviously, the opportunity for Bayern Munich will be out there in this game, and we do expect goals. I want to see goals, and what we've seen from the fact that there's no away goals anymore is that teams just go for it. They want to play. It doesn't matter where they're playing, who they're playing against, what the opponent is. They want to make sure that they're entertaining and they're scoring goals, and we're not being let down. I think it's been brilliant to watch. A couple of lines I wanted to throw at you here, Buckets. You know your bet over 1.5 for both teams and placing wagers on both. Over 1.5 for Bayern Munich is currently sitting at plus 100 right now, and over 1.5 team total goals for Real Madrid is currently sitting at plus 115. So if I'm out there, I'm taking Buckets' new bet that he's been placing, and I'm placing half a wager on Bayern Munich to score over 1.5, and I'm half a unit on Real Madrid to score over 1.5. And I bet I've got a chance of that hitting, because as you pointed out there, this could be 2-2, 3-2, 4-2. This could be a high scoring game.
Yeah, I think that's honestly a brilliant way to do it. And I have no problem with you splitting half a wager or even playing one unit on both of those lines, because my score prediction for this one would have been 2-2, which is why I like that safety net at the draw no bet. But you can definitely have some fun betting on goals in this one as well.
All right, it's time for producer Jeff to step up and show us exactly where he's going on this bet, but also John Bucketimer. Where you going on Wednesday is Borussia Dortmund against Paris Saint-Germain. Yes, we're in front of the yellow wall. Yes, it is the Champions League semi-final, and somehow, some way, Borussia Dortmund maybe shit in the Bundesliga this year, but they made it to the semi-final of the Champions League. Where are you going?
Ian, I wanted to go 100 different ways on this one. I will say that, again, Dortmund draw no bet is minus 105. I think that is a very tasty wager, but I'm going to mix it up. I'm going to keep Jeff on my good side, and I'm going to say that while Dortmund might not win, they're going to score at least 2 goals in this first leg, because Dortmund absolutely know and they understand that if they want to produce a result in this tie, they have to have a strong home leg. And we saw that they are clearly capable of doing that when they played Atletico Madrid at home and scored 4 goals in that one, which was a crazy 4-2 final here. But I believe that while Dortmund cannot score 4 against PSG, this is a team that can score 2 against PSG. I'm taking Dortmund over 1.5 team total at plus 125 here. That is just too good of a line for me to ignore for a team that plays so good at home. I know that I've never been to a Dortmund match. I know that I've never seen the yellow wall in person, but I also know that Dortmund at home are capable of scoring 2 against damn near everyone. I mean, they beat Bayern 2-0 on the road earlier this season. They scored 4 against Atletico. They drew and probably should have beaten Leverkusen at home. This is a team that when they're playing at home, Ian, I don't know how you don't back them. And I personally feel like the books are disrespecting this Dortmund side.
Wow, you got it at plus 125?
Yep. What are you seeing right now?
Over 1.5. I mean, I'm not seeing anything. I'm not
Okay.
looking at it right now. But what I am saying is that there's no way that stays at plus 125. Over 1.5 Dortmund goals, plus 125.
Yep. As of this morning, that's what it was.
There's no way it's staying like that. So anybody out there, please make sure you jump on the back of Buckets' bet, because this has every opportunity of hitting quickly in this game. Dortmund are going to go for it. They have to go for it. And I will say that they are very vulnerable defensively. So I do see PSG getting a goal in this game. I don't see them sitting back and defending or changing their tactics. I'm seeing Dortmund go for this game. And I'm thinking we're seeing goals in that first half as well. So if there's a wager out there, I'm looking at total goals in the first half being over 1.5. That's currently sitting at plus 115. I don't see this being a tight game. Go ahead.
I will say that I'm checking it now because these are when I submitted plays to Jeff earlier. I'm seeing it at
Yep.
plus 115. So I'm going to guess that it's going to keep moving in that direction. We'll probably end up seeing that. I'd say like minus 115, minus 120 is still playable for that line.
This one's going to minus numbers quickly.
Yep.
Over 1.5 Dortmund goals in the first half. They have to score goals in the first leg. They've got to score goals. If they don't score 2 goals minimum in that first leg, they're not going through this tie, because I don't see them scoring more than 2 goals in Paris. I mean, they'll be lucky if they score 2 in Paris. So, and they'll be lucky not to lose that game in Paris. So they have to score goals. They have to win this game. The only way to do that is by scoring goals in this first leg. So love the bet buckets. This is a great way to look at it. A reminder to everybody, the Champions League semifinals is taking place next week. So please feel free to bet responsibly and have fun with us here at Stoppage Time. Hope you enjoyed the bet buckets. Are you ready for the Joyboy's best bet this weekend?
Let's get it, baby.
This one's called a wee wager. I'm going to do something different this week. I'm going to actually give you the information, and then I'm going to provide my best bet at the end of this one. Because normally what I do is I provide all the information after I give you my best bet, but I'm going to do something different. I'm looking at the Scottish Premiership. It is now divided between the Championship teams, the Championship 6, and then the relegation teams, the relegation 6. So basically they play against each other to see where they finish in the table. It is completely divided from top to bottom, which is great to see. Rangers and Celtic are still battling it out at the top of the table. Take a look at the table right now. It's absolutely wild. If you look at the Championship 6, Celtic are top of the table on 78 points. Rangers are second on 75 points. And then you have Hearts, who are way behind on 62 points, but still have a bit of a gap over Kilmarnock. Now, what happens now with the Championship group? They play against each other, and then you finish off who finishes in the top positions: Champions League, Europa League, Conference League, etc, etc, etc. So there's a lot to play for right now, but there is a bit of a gap between the two who are fighting for the title, the two who are fighting for Europa League and Conference League. As you can see right there, Hearts look like they're guaranteed to get the conference, the Europa League, and then obviously Kilmarnock are looking like they're guaranteed to get the conference position as well. A reminder to everybody out there that Scottish Premiership is now no longer in the top category. It has lost its automatic Champions League qualification spot, so no matter who wins the Scottish Premiership, they now have to go through the qualification process as well. Now, in the relegation group, you have Livingston, who are bottom, gonna get relegated whether we like it or not. They've only won 3 games from 33. Aberdeen are down there somehow, some way, in 35 points. Hibernian, Motherwell. It's quite competitive to stay away from the bottom 3, but there's really not much to play for in the bottom half of the table, so I'm staying away from those. The fixtures this weekend are quite interesting. The two that I'm looking at is, of course, on Sunday, where Rangers are away to St Mirren, and then you have Celtic away to Dundee, whose field is apparently so bad they've cancelled, like, I think 10 games this year. So let's hope that that game gets taken place on Sunday, as the weather is changing in Scotland. You never know what weather it's going to be this weekend. And then, of course, I'm looking at that Hearts game against Kilmarnock on Saturday, which is another cracking game. 3 teams that are getting my love right now. It is Celtic, who are top of the table, 3 points above Rangers. They've played 33. They've won 24. They've lost only 3. They've scored 80, which is the most goals scored by any team in Scotland in Premiership anyway. Away from home, they've played 17, won 12, and lost only 2. They've scored 38 goals away from home and conceded only 14. 38 goals away from home in 17 games is fucking ridiculous. I love it. In fact, they have scored 9 goals in their last 3 games away from Celtic Park. That is across all competitions. Of course, they scored 3 against Aberdeen this past weekend in the Scottish Cup semi-final, a game that went to penalty kicks and they won, and they're in the final against Rangers. Speaking of Rangers, they're second in the table, 3 points behind Celtic. Both have played, of course, 33 games. Rangers have won 23, lost 6, and scored 72 goals and conceded 23. Away from home, 11 wins, 3 losses, which is not very good. They have obviously played 16 games. They've scored 30 and they've conceded 3, which is a very good defensive record. The last 2 away games, they have been brutal for Rangers. A loss at Ross County, which was pretty poor, and then a 0-0 at Dundee. They cannot afford to lose again this next weekend. Now, I want to just confirm something because I just checked that right there. Yeah, Rangers have conceded 8 away from home, not 3. I put the wrong number in. Hearts, they're the 3rd best team in Scotland right now this season. They've been amazing. 19 wins and 9 losses in 33 games. Not necessarily great, but away from home, it's really interesting. They have 10 wins, 6 losses, and 0 draws. No draws whatsoever away from home. They've scored 20 goals away from home. And from the 46 goals that they've scored this season overall, Lawrence Shankland has bagged 21 of them. So if you want to place a wager on Shankland, feel free to do so. I'm sure there'll be tasty numbers on them. So here's my best bet for this weekend, Buckets. I hope you like the format this week. I'm looking at Kilmarnock against Hearts. Kilmarnock plus 120, Hearts plus 125. St Mirren against Rangers. St Mirren plus 650, Rangers minus 275. Dundee plus 750 against Celtic, or minus 370. It is a 3-leg Scottish Premiership parlay. I'm looking at Celtic and Rangers both to win, and I'm going to add in the 3rd leg of this parlay, Hearts double chance. So Hearts to win or draw in their game away to Kilmarnock. All 3 teams are away from home, so anything can happen. Let me remind you, there is a divide in the Scottish Premiership this weekend. The top 6 go head-to-head, the bottom 6 go head-to-head. It's kind of crazy. So parlay all of those together, you get to plus 178 on the sportsbook. So Celtic and Rangers to win and Hearts double chance, parlay together, plus 178 on the sportsbook out there. Now, a lot needs to happen for this to hit. I want everybody to bet responsibly. It's a lot of information I've just given out. It is quite a high plus number right there. So as you can see, a lot needs to go right for us to hit this. So please bet smart. Buckets, your thoughts?
My thoughts are you had me nervous for a second because I thought you were going to take Rangers money line, Celtic money, Hearts money line, and the Hearts on the money line would have scared me just a little bit by itself. So I really like that you went with double chance there because I'm looking back at when they played Kilmarnock last time, which I believe was end of March. It was recent. That was a 1-1 draw, probably a match where Hearts should have won based on the stats. But I like that you're being it a little bit safer with that double chance. Rangers, I'm going to be honest, I'm not a fan of Rangers. I lost big time on them playing Dundee, live betting them to just get 1 goal. I was desperate to see something there, but I do understand that Rangers are in a position now to where, I mean, they have to win, right? This is I know that we say that all the time, but this really is a must win for Rangers. It's a must win for Celtic. I think this is a brilliant way of parlaying these together. And it's an Ian Scottish play. Of course I'm tailing it.
Yeah, I think we got to be careful because Hearts, as I mentioned already before, they've not drawn 1 game away from home. Apparently, they don't care either. They just go for it. So they're trying to win this game. I thought they were brilliant. Obviously, they cashed a ticket for us recently in their amazing comeback against Livingston. Congratulations, and thank you to Lawrence Shankland for getting on the score sheet. But I'm really intrigued to see how this one plays out because the Scottish Premiership is unpredictable right now. And that's why I'm getting plus 178 odds here, because nobody knows how it's going to happen. And I will take the plus 178. And this weekend, I'm going to be back to winning ways and cash that ticket and run all the way to the bank. Buckets, real quickly, are you ready for a Hot Coco best bet?
That's what we've been missing, man. Absolutely. Let's do it.
She is 5-2 from the last 7 games. She missed out last weekend because she got slightly nervous with the fact that she missed the one before that. She's not used to losing, so she's back with an absolute banger for this weekend. Here is Hot Coco with this weekend's best MLS bet.
Hey everyone, after a week off because of spring break with my kids, I am happy to announce the kids are back at school. Cheers to that. Whew. I am also happy to announce that I am back with this week's MLS Pick of the Week. This week I'm going to New York Red Bulls versus Vancouver Whitecaps. Yes, I know, the Red Bulls burned me last time because they conceded a red card, But this week, I have a feeling this is going to hit. I'm doing a same game parlay, and that is both teams to score in over 2.5 total goals. This should put you at plus 130. I did some research here, and Vancouver have played 8 games where they have scored 17 times. 17 times. That averages over 2 goals a game. Meanwhile, New York Red Bulls have played 9 games where they've scored 13 times. That averages well over 1 goal a game. So this game, I am expecting goals. I'm expecting a lot of fun. And I'll tell you what, if this bet doesn't hit, I may have to change my energy drink of choice. And I don't want to do that. Back to you guys.
There you have it, John Buckenheimer. She is going back to New York Red Bulls against Vancouver. It's a pretty tasty wager. Your thoughts initially?
My thoughts are that I'm nervous because I was on that same New York Red Bull game with her against Chicago Fire and saw that red card and my bet collapse. So I'm nervous. I'm nervous that she's betting against, a team that you're on this side that you don't support, but it's Hot Coco. I got to tail it, right?
Yeah, unfortunately, you have to. But I'd like to remind everybody out there there's only one team in New York who's building a stadium in New York, by the way, but they're also champions in 2021. Have I ever showed you my championship ring buckets? Because this is for Hot Coco. There's the ring right there. I don't know if anyone can see that ring, but can you see it right there? There's the championship ring from 2021. Buckets, that's just for you. I'm just putting it out there for you. What do you think?
That's a fantastic ring. Yeah. Is that the finger that usually goes on?
It goes on my middle finger, and it goes on my middle finger for a purpose. If you look at my other finger, there's my German championship ring. And there's a reason why I put it on those fingers, because I actually asked for them to be sized for my middle finger. And the reason why is because the people who have been in my life, most of them have been tremendously influential. And some of them, not necessarily in the most positive way. Some of them were negative towards me when I was growing up. So I look at my school teachers who said, you're never, ever going to be a professional footballer. You should focus on your school. Then I look at maybe the guy who said to me when I first became a professional, you're too small. You're not fast enough. You will never make it as a professional. Then I go to the doctor, the first one that looked at my knee after I completely fucked it up, and said, you're never going to play soccer again. That knee is toast. Well, coincidentally, I went on to play over 200 league games. I won a championship in Germany. And of course, I did eventually win a Major League Soccer championship after 2009. My Real Salt Lake team went on to win MLS Cup. I left a couple of months before the final because I was in rehab. Maybe a little bit different. I was injured all of that season. So maybe you could say I didn't deserve a ring. I felt like I deserved a ring because I helped change the culture at Real Salt Lake. So there's maybe a little of an influence there. But people said to me, you'll never be able to do it. You'll never ever play. You'll never win a championship. So when I won my German championship, I got my ring size for my middle finger for a reason. And then when I won my MLS championship ring as a broadcaster for the very first time, after people tell me, you're never going to win a championship in Major League Soccer. Why are you leaving the Bundesliga? Don't go to MLS. You'll never win a championship. I did it for a reason. It was because I saw life after football and I became a champion. I may have became a championship off the field as a broadcaster, but this one has been sized for my middle finger as well. This right here is a fuck you to everybody who ever doubted me, Buckets, and that's why I do it. Your thoughts on that?
I love everything about that. And if that's not the most IPJ thing I've ever heard in my absolute life, Ian, I don't know what is. I love that, man. I'm not, as you can see, I haven't gotten my middle finger ring sized yet, but I'm working on them.
That's going to be a big fucking ring to fit that middle finger, by the way. Let's size that thing. Anyway, just a quick reaction to the game. Hot Coco is on the New York Red Bulls against the Whitecaps. This is third against fourth. Best teams in Major League Soccer overall right now in the chase for the Supporter Shield. Vancouver scored 17 from nine games. If I'm not mistaken, 8 games, you pointed out. Red Bulls have scored only 13 from the 9 games, which is not great. But these two teams are pretty dangerous. Red Bulls at home, they have not lost a single game this season at home. Vancouver have won all 3 games away from home this season, and they've scored 7 goals in those 3 games that they've played away from home. Some other looks that I wanted to throw out there for this game. New York Red Bulls against the Whitecaps. Whitecaps double chance right now is plus 105 for a team that's won every game away from home. Be careful. Bet responsibly, of course, but plus 105, no way I'm looking away from that one. Both teams to score alone is -120 in that game, which is absolutely tasty.
Oh.
Ryan Gauld, anytime goal scores, +360. The Scottish Messi, I'm just going to throw it out there. And then we've got the Whitecap scoring over 1.5 total goals, which is a Buckets classic right now. That's currently sitting at +265. Buckets, your thoughts on some of the wagers I put out there?
I'm kind of shocked that they're leaning so low on goals on this one. For me, both teams to score,
Yeah.
I would have assumed would have been closer to that -165, -170 range. I kind of like that Hot Coco went with both teams to score and over rather than both teams to score and no draw, because this could be, as we talk about all those time, this could be one of those games that does end 2-2, that does see a bit more action than they're expecting. And I would rather just bet on goals and try to pick a winner in this one, I think.
Yeah, a reminder of the previous two times that these two teams played against each other, it was 2-2. 2-2, both of those games, which is absolutely crazy. So people are expecting no goals in this game, but at the same time, we are expecting goals in this game. I'm expecting action because both of these teams are absolutely tasty. They love to score goals. They love to attack. They play good football. It's attractive to watch. Red Bulls are a much better team than they were last year. New boss in charge. He came from Germany. He's been outstanding for them. And the New York Derby is coming up, and I can't wait to watch them. So I hope that they lose that game, but we see both teams scoring and the over hitting in that game. Buckets, what you up this weekend? What you got planned?
This weekend, shoot, I had something.
Sounds fun and entertaining and exciting.
I've got something.
Glad
fun
you're looking
going on
forward
this
to it.
weekend. Oh man, no,
Is that a date?
Oh god, no, absolutely not. But I'll figure. What are you doing this weekend? Let's talk about you here.
I am, of course. I'm going to the NYCFC game this weekend, and coincidentally, our producer will also be at that game, which I'm really looking forward to. Yes, I will be there this past weekend. I was there, and we saw, again, another great performance from NYCFC. They were absolutely brilliant against DC United, so we really enjoyed that one. This weekend, they're playing against Charlotte. That game is taking place at Yankee Stadium, so I'm looking forward to it. I've been to 3 NYCFC games this season, which is quite amazing. And guess what, Buckets? They've won all 3 games this season. So no pressure on me being at the game, but I'm really looking forward to it. Have you remembered exactly what you're doing this weekend? No?
I have remembered it. It's super embarrassing because it's kind of my life. I'm actually going to the Crew fixture against Montreal this weekend. I've not seen the Crew Stadium yet. I was like, I know I'm doing something, but my brain is just so. I'm going to an MLS match, so that'll be fun.
Question: will you be placing a wager while you're at the game?
I think I probably will. I'm probably going to do something live. That seems like the best way to bet when you're actually at the match. See how Crew starts off, because I know that they also play in CONCACAF before that, so they might be a wee bit tired going into that match against Montreal.
Yeah, I'm just going to throw it out there. When I was at the game this past weekend, I did open up the betting apps. I didn't place any wagers because I was watching NYCFC, but I did wanted to see how close the lines were. You know, from live betting, when they close the bet, from when they score, and there's a 3-second difference from when the ball hit the back of the net and to when the wager closed, which is quite incredible. I mean, someone's in attendance when they're pushing a button. Like, these companies must use someone who's actually in attendance at every single game, and it closes. So it must be like a whole network where all of the betting companies get to use this one person who's sitting there watching this game, close the bet, or even understanding where the bet's going, momentum swings and all that type of stuff. It's pretty crazy when you're actually live and you're focusing on what's happening in the betting world.
If I get that 3 seconds, though, I'm going to sit on my app with Columbus' first goal loaded in with like $100, and I'm just going to sit there and I'm going to wait. And the second I see it go in, hit submit bet and pray VAR doesn't take it back. But no, it is wild, though, because if you look at some of the apps live, they actually will track the location of the ball. And so there's someone whose job it is to like move in motion with the play live to describe what's happening to the apps. It's wild technology.
We found a career for you, Buckets. Just sit there and track the ball and let everybody in the betting space know exactly where the ball is. All right, just like John Bucket Timer's going to do this weekend, and I will be doing at NYCFC against Charlotte this weekend, and producer Jeff will be doing in New York this past weekend, or this next weekend that's coming up. I want everybody out there to do the same thing this weekend. I want you to all bet responsibly, but I want you to make sure you absolutely have it!